Well, we're sitting here in the rain, outside at least. We've got very few leaks. Got one leak here that's giving me rainwater. And I also set up a rainwater catch outside. So this drip is consistent, but it's only helping the plants. I've got no drips in the center, no drips near the electronics, but I put a clear thing over the temporary wiring to clean up later. I've got space now to open up this door with that grapefruit removed, and we're going to put another battery down there, another car battery. Everything's flowering, and the importance, I wanted to make a point here that if you have a citrus tree inside and it's on really good lighting, bright lighting, and it's on that lighting consistently for a whole year, 365 days, it's not going to have any natural triggers for new growth or flowering in a lot of ways. Some trees will be different than others, but what I've discovered with the Kishu mandarin at least is that it requires that chill and that warm triggering of the daytime to start new growth and flowering. And the lower branches on my Kishu are the ones that are flowering now, these smaller branches at the base of this one. So I expect new growth on all of these branches now to fill out the tree. And I'd like to bring out the big tree, but it has 2 fruit on it, and I don't want the temptation for somebody to come in and grab it off of it before it's ripe. So this Kishu is doing quite well. It's aside from this is a cocktail grapefruit here that's all flowering very nicely, and there as well. And in the Kishu, you can see there are some flowers at the top. So I've had flowers at the top and flowers on the lower limbs, and small flowers on the other one as well. So that's a good sign. We might actually have some fruit that sticks. There is one fruit on the mandarin that hasn't dropped, so they're super slow growing. But there's a flower there that has lost its petals, and that will become hopefully a mandarin if the tree has enough energy. There's another cluster of flowers on the cocktail grapefruit there. I've got a bunch of rose stems that I'm going to try to root there. The dragon fruit doesn't really grow that fast, so I think I might have a dud there. But I've got another citrus there, another grapefruit. And then we've got this coffee plant here that's doing quite well, waiting for it to bust out some new leaves. But it's on quite a thick stalk, so hopefully that can turn into a more vigorous growing bush. And on the other thing I was going to mention is that the temperature coming out of the ground right now is 12.4 and 15.6 Celsius inside here. So for my American friends, 60 and 54, which is good. And once I get the intake for the ground battery over there in the corner, I'm going to build a wooden compost box about 3.5, 4 feet wide and 4 feet deep, and get that going in the fall with all the leaves that I get off the trees. And the major trees next door to my greenhouse here, they lose all their leaves, so I get extra light in the winter as well, which is a nice bonus since I'm losing a lot of the warmth of the greenhouse. I'll have light at least, and with that light we'll be able to get some kind of generated heat inside here. But the main thing will be the compost, and I'm going to build it with straw and brown leaves and green matter. No food, no meat matter, nothing like that. And hopefully that will keep the ground warm below it, as well as a panel of hose there, or a couple of loops of hose underneath a metal perforated base, so I can shovel the compost out. But the heat will be retained underneath the compost, I'm hoping. And that'll feed into the underground 20-foot length of hose, and then come back to this basket that's in the bottom of this hole here. Then I'll have flow through, so I'll probably be able to have less draw or less struggle for the fan. And right now I have it sort of 50 or 30, 70, so it's sucking the cold air out of the bottom, but it's also sucking a little air out of the actual space, just to keep the fan from forming a bit of a vacuum or having any load on that fan while it's trying to suck air out of the basement or the 5-foot hole. So once that's connected to the other pipe, all the heat from the summer will be drawn through this into the basket hole here. Hopefully it'll fill up the sand with heat, or the dirt down there, over the summer, and I'll get a little bit of an experiment. We can check as the winter comes how much actual heat has been retained down there in the 5-foot hole basket at the bottom of this hosing here. Anyways, that's the plan, guys. The lettuce is growing quite well. It's a great indicator for your greenhouse. Lettuce will wilt really quickly if it's too hot. So this lettuce seems to be holding on. It does wilt a bit, but it's producing quite well. And I'm hoping that I'll have a few lettuce plants to transplant out of this soil here, which is a lot of perlite. This is almost 50-50 perlite and soil. So hopefully I'll transplant those out. I've got some tobacco plants going inside, as well as some grapefruit seeds going. And hopefully I'll have a bunch of small grapefruit seedlings like this in a couple of weeks that I can start growing on the long term. Anyways, the lemon cutting from air layering is doing very, very well. It's starting to bush out a bit. That's about 3 years old, that cutting. And the other coffee cuttings are producing a new leaf here, but I don't think that stick is going to go anywhere, even though it has roots. All these have roots, but I'm not sure that they have a strong enough root system yet to develop a whole new branch or trunk of a tree. This cocktail grapefruit is doing quite well as well. This is about 1.5 years, 2 years old, and from my seeds from the cocktail grapefruit that were only pollinated by other cocktail grapefruits. None of my other flowers were out at the time of that actually being cut. So hopefully we'll have the same flavored fruit, and I'll catch you all later. You have a good day. Enjoy it.